Right, we're joined now by information technology expert Atobatele. Thank you so much for joining us on Newsnight. Well, when you hear that Nigerians are fifth on the list of the global usage of social media, are you excited about that? Or is that indicative of maybe an economy that's not as productive as it should be?
We're Nigerians. I think it's 1 in 7 black people is a Nigerian, 1 in 5 Africans, or is it the other way around? The numbers don't surprise one. We are a lot of people, and we're tech savvy, and we have a very young population. So it would be very surprising if we didn't feature high on any list like that.
Look at the numbers. If we can start by talking about the good, then we get into the bad and the ugly, as it also affects very young children, talking about screen time, which many parents are worried about. But I'd like to start with the good.
Well, the good is the fact that if you're under 40, you are a digital native to this thing. You know how it works. And there are large numbers of people that are not in the formal employment market that are making relatively good salaries, good incomes from thrift and copywriting and videos and various things like that. These are all legitimate things that they're doing. They are making both Naira and FX, and this is something that is going to grow. Post-COVID, it became very, very evident that it didn't really matter where you were, where you resided. What mattered were the skill sets that you had. And Nigerians are educated. They're educated very well, and they are very, very experimental. The people doing skits in 5 years' time, they'll be running adverts for global companies like Coca-Cola and things like that. All this is going to happen very, very soon.
Right. Okay. Well, it's interesting. Let me bring in a different angle, because I was a bit curious looking at that list. More of underdeveloped, developing countries actually on that list. Kenya, South Africa, Brazil, Philippines, of course, Nigeria, Colombia, Saudi Arabia, Argentina, Mexico, and on, about 20. I don't see the United States. I don't see the United Kingdom. I don't see Germany, Norway, the developed countries on this list. And I'm wondering, does it have any nexus with underdevelopment if we're spending that many hours on social media every day, apart from the good side that you've listed?
If you're an adult, then the internet and social media is a godsend for you to be able to contact and be contacted by the rest of the world. It's a godsend for you to be able to find out information. It's a godsend for you to be able to do commerce. It's a godsend for you to be able to do research. On the other hand, as you've rightly pointed out, if you are a child, then this is not such a great thing. It does sort of stunt development. Our children don't go out to play, they don't go out to mix, and really, the more educated you are about social media, the longer you will keep social media away from your young children. So there's a good side and there is a bad side. But as I said, as an adult, you do adult things. As a child, you are directed as to where you need to do. And too much screen time is not good for children. It makes them introverted, makes them believe that things that are not necessarily true with misinformation. It allows them to be groomed. And I don't really believe that any child should really be on social media before the age of 16. They don't have the capacity to decide what is real and what is not real before that. They're not that discerning in their information.
Great point you make there, but you're talking about the anti-social side of social media. I'm talking about, development, economic development vis-a-vis underdevelopment, because the countries you have on this list are, countries mostly in Africa, in Latin America, developing countries. but you don't really find the developed, nations of the West on this list. And I'm wondering if there's any link at all.
We don't have an underground. We don't have an underground in Nigeria. We don't have perfect public transport in Nigeria. There are lots of things that we lack from an infrastructural point of view. And social media is filling in for those things in these countries. If you looked at the list, you would find that those are the attributes that are common among them. It's usually infrastructural capacity that is lacking in these countries. And so people turn to the next best thing, as they always will do, and the next best thing that's sitting in their hand is a mobile phone. And the next best thing that allows them to communicate is social media. Why would I want to spend a large amount of money using the normal telephone system, which is probably free in New York, but it's not free in London, sorry, not free in Lagos, when I can use WhatsApp to communicate with people in Colombia, Argentina, New Zealand, and everything for a very, very small amount of money. So it really comes down to the infrastructure or lack of, and people in developing countries utilizing this social media as a cheap way of actually getting into infrastructural deficits.
Well, is social media also trying, sometimes the argument could be how sociable is social media, especially when it comes to such arguments as superficial connectivity or superficial connection. You remember time was when people really would want to meet whether under the tree or meet physically and have that connection, but is it something that AI is trying to help social media elevate?
AI on social media right now is a bit of a disaster. And why do I say that? The deep fakes and the avatars that don't allow you to actually know whether you're talking to a real person or not, that is something that we still have to learn how to cope with. And whether you're an adult or a child or anybody in between, this is a big issue in the coming months. But we will get there. The infrastructure is not going away. The technology is not going away, and we will learn how to discern between what is real and what is not real. That's just going to be the way of the future. We don't have a choice. Nobody's going to put this smoke back into the bottle. The genie is out of the bottle. The smoke is out of the bottle. And our job really is to make the best of it. So, whether we come up with regulation, whether they are self-regulating or whatever, we will move on. These are tools, and we need to learn how to manage the tools. The tools don't use us. We use the tools.
That's a fine place. At least, at least we know you exist. We reached out to you, and physically you're right there in our studios.
And you can be sure we exist too.
So,
we're not AI.
Atobatele,
well, I'm not sure that you exist.
Because you haven't actually met me.
I can't touch you right now, so.
But I think this conversation is quite an interesting one.
I'm not even too sure if you can touch the person next door to you.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you for your time as always.